So do you believe in the unseen? Whether or not, it's still there. It doesn't really matter whether you're the intellect type or the atheist type, and you think that this reality is all that it is, or the religious and spiritual type, which is got it all wrong. It's still there. Okay, just like air. Nobody would believe on air. Nobody would believe on radioactivity or ultraviolet rays and all those things, just because our senses, just because they don't pick it up. Just like dogs, they can hear a higher level sound than we can. So does that mean that that sound doesn't exist? Obviously, if dogs can hear it, it exists. We just can't experience it because our senses don't go to that high. Or just because you didn't see a tree fall in the woods, it doesn't make a sound or not. Still makes that sound, right? So again, same thing here. Another breath in again. So whatever you want to call it, ghosts, poltergeists, the dead, entities, magic, remote viewing comes into this place, and it's different than the jinns, the spirits, the angels, curses, witchcraft, or other supernatural, say, phenomena or beings out there, including aliens or entities, which is actually basically, say, energy fragments that don't know what's going on, or they don't have a consciousness. So I see all that. And in the past, guys, I was a computer programmer before I had my my 2 near deaths. So I used to be just logic. If it's not in the coding, if the coding is off, it doesn't work. Again, that level of logic, just common sense. And then as I got my gifts, I started to see more and more logic, higher level logic, because the logic that most people are at, say, are at a 0 level logic. Okay, this reality, and that's why I call it 0, just for numbers. So the more and more I worked on people, the more and more my abilities got honed, the more and more I saw that there is an underlying frequencies or underlying, say, worlds or realities or consciousness, as I call it, that dictate how you represent yourself in this reality. Okay, the unseen. And as I got through, and that's why my abilities are so potent and so transformative for people. Say one session is worth like 2 decades of therapy. So that's how powerful it is, because I get down to the underlying level on why your life is the way it is. So when you start seeing those realities or deeper level consciousness, again, if you want to put it in physics terms, you've got Newtonian physics, the big physics on how stuff works here, like an apple falling. And then you go into quantum physics, which their properties don't match the Newtonian physics, right? Although it dictates what the Newtonian physics does. And then we go into, say, the realm of the supernatural, which dictates what the quantum physics, I would call it pure physics. So this is that transitionary, say, level of physics. So you have Newtonian physics, you have quantum physics, quantum mechanics and so on. And then you have the other, again, pure physics that most people don't get into, although, Einstein, Tesla, and all those individuals, that as they got more and more, say, intelligent or knowledgeable about, say, the quantum mechanics or the quantum physics of how this reality worked, they started getting spooked out. This is where Einstein goes, things happen spooky things happen at a distance. Well, that's what we're talking about. That's what this is about. And the science I'll do on a lecture series, okay, on how those things work. But what that is that you're transitioning from, it's a ripple effect. There's a lot of turbulence between in that space. So and that's the transition between physicalness of this reality and then the timeless realm of this reality. So this is where, again, the transition happens. So in the timeless realm, you have multiple realities or multiple dimensions that are, say, it's like a fabric, if you think about it. They're interwoven. And you have, and again, not to get into too much detail, but the crossroads of, say, time and space. So, and then there's one reality. Okay? And then we'll talk about, witchcraft and all that stuff and how it all affects you. But I just want you guys to understand, because I just want you to dispel all the stuff that you've learned about, all that stuff that we're going to be talking about, black magic, Satanism, all that stuff, okay, that control people. So crossroads of time and space. Okay, the crossroads of time and space, that is the only one reality that exists. Okay, so, and then with every other reality, you're looking at yourself through that one reality. So you have a lens on, but it's not just one lens. You have hundreds and thousands of different realms or lenses that you look at this stuff from. So you're further and further and further away from the one reality that exists. So as the further and further and further away, you start to become, or you start to come into other possibilities or other realities that you experience. Okay, so the closer you are to your real self, the closer you are to time and space, the less those things will affect you. It doesn't mean that they disappear, they're non-existent. It's just that the less that those things will affect you, because again, you're here and now you're representing yourself way here. So everything from where you're supposed to be compared to where you are, those are all the realms that you're seeing your one reality from. Okay, so in that space or lenses, then you'll see other realities. Okay? You may choose to disconnect or discontinue that, but still it doesn't matter. You're still seeing through that filter. And as you see through that filter, you're going to start to become aware, especially if your family, is intuitive or, psychic abilities or superstitious or, things of that nature. So you start to see all these different layers. Just like, a dog, you start to hear, your perception goes higher, and then you start to see weird shit happening to you, right? Or attracting to you. So that's where that comes from. Simple as that. Okay, so that's the science behind it. That's the deepest. I'm going to go into that science. We'll do that on the lecture series. So does that mean those things exist? Yes, they do exist. It's just another form, another consciousness that exists. Do you get affected by it? Of course you do. Does it matter if you believe it or not? Hell no, it does not matter. In fact, what you believe in and how you believe is dictated by the consciousness that you're in. Okay. Again, it's not just that you're seeing through the one reality that you're supposed to be is here. You're way the hell out here. Okay. You're in another reality that you shouldn't be in. So if you're in that reality and that consciousness is of fear or say possession, like demonic possessions and so on like that, you're going to keep attracting situations and so on like that possess you demonically. If you're in another reality, you're not only seeing this one reality suit your life through all these filters. Again, you exist in another reality, which you shouldn't be. And you'd get into witchcraft if that's the consciousness that you got sucked into. So that's the logistics, and that's how, the science behind it. I just want you to understand, it's just not woo-woo stuff out there. It's not nothing that, I don't believe it. And again, I come back to that because there's scientists go, I don't believe it, show me. Well, even proof of people, observing molecules, right? Like electrons, they form different patterns on observation. Well, that's, people have run that test all the time. And it proves that itself that there's another consciousness that's in between you and the electron that changes the structure of the electron, right? Or the path of the electron. So that's the mysteries of the unseen realm. It's all part of that. So you have higher consciousness or higher, say, frequencies that are beyond. Again, we're at a high level density. Okay, we're at a level 0 density. And then as we go higher and higher and higher, and this is where it starts to get freaky. And I predicted that you'll see more and more people will see this, even those individuals who don't believe. So, so you're at a level 0 frequency. Okay, this is like density. This is where materials and you can feel and touch and experience things. So that's level 0. Again, what you're feeling here, and even some of you today on this call, you go, yeah, I'm here and I feel stuff, but I'm just not here. I feel that stuff, but it doesn't feel real to me because it's not. You're rendering it at a dense, say, molecular level. Okay. And that's why you're disconnected. That's why, because again, like I said, you're in another reality trying to experience this reality. That's why if you have concepts of depression, anxiety, disconnectedness, not feeling complete, not connecting to people, not being able to, feel deep love for yourself or others, not feeling the joy, all those things or because you're in another reality and you're, say, possessed, or you have a filter. You're clouded on, say, what you see. Your judgment is clouded on what you see. So that's why, say you're a scientist, again, that's a physicalness of this zero realm, but you're a scientist from a different realm. You know, you'll be disconnected with people. So all your experiments, for example, will be distorted. Simple as that. Okay? Or will be disconnected. So you have the zero realm. And by the way, I'm working on you as a group, so that's why I might go off tangent. Let's take a deep breath in, because this is more of an experiential learning. I want you to, really benefit from it, or help you understand the different layers that you exist in, so you can clear that up and to be your best possible self as you get into this. And then for those individuals who actually see that stuff and experience that stuff, help you, say, analyze it and help you manipulate it to your benefit. So again, taking a deep breath in. So you're at a zero realm. Okay, you go into the next realm, which is a level 1. So what happens here, and this is where it gets kind of spooky, is that you go to the zero realm. People die, and people don't know how to die. You're supposed to go way beyond, say, like a level 8 consciousness, okay? So with each level, the density of how you can materialize gets less and less and less, okay? So you're at level 0 consciousness, right? Really heavy density. You go to a level 1 consciousness. Most people who die go to a level 1 consciousness, especially in today's society, because we don't know how to die properly. Because they're on, they're on hospice, they're on drugs, they're on whatever. They're not connected here. They're not aware of their body anyway. They're not aware of the reality that they're in. So when they disconnect from time and space, they go, where the hell am I? They just go to the next level consciousness, where they can experience everything that you experience here without physical form. Again, space of the dead. You might think it's the space of the dead, but it's really not. It's just the next level. Fortunately, we call it the space of the dead because, well, most dead people end up there. It doesn't mean it's a death space. It's just that most people end up at that level. So since there's a lot of dead people in that space, people call it the space of the dead, where they can feel, say, the death around them, right? Especially nowadays, as, say, level 1 frequencies, consciousness, say, starts to get heavier, and the level 0 frequencies start to get lighter. They start level 1, level 2 frequencies start to merge together. So many of you, although you might have never experienced anything, you're starting to see things, kind of go bump in the night, right? You're starting to feel other things. You're starting to think about, your dead uncle or whoever that died, whatever it might be, right? You're starting to sense, you're starting to feel that there's more to this reality than what meets the eye or what meets your senses. That's the reason why, again, I predicted this years ago, along with COVID and, a plethora of other predictions that came out spot on. So, and I'll be predicting the future for you as well on where the world is headed, not in this session, by the way. So you transition. So those dead people, say, for example, die. They go into that next reality, level 1. And then they start to awaken. It's like, shit, I'm here without a body. They start to realize, so that they realize that they're dead. Okay? Again, unfortunately, most people don't even realize that they're dead. They go about doing the same thing. When I was in New York, first time I was in New York, I was walking through the sidewalks, walking down the sidewalks, and it was like so heavy. It's like, holy crap, there's a lot of dead people, because I can, you can feel them. And I'm going, wow, this is crazy. They were so busy that they died, and they still think that they're here living in this, because those two realities, 1, level 2, merged together. Okay, so you go into that higher, the second level, and as you go to that second level, those people in that second level, they start to awaken. Okay, and as they start to awaken, and I'm telling you how ghosts appear, or whatever, poltergeist and things of that nature that you actually physically sense within your frequencies, or you feel them right through your 5 senses. This is how it happens. So they're level 2 consciousness. They start to awaken that they're dead, and then they start to go, shit, I'm dead. They start to learn the properties of the level 2 consciousness, just the way you learn the mechanics of walking, right? Or the mechanics of gravity and how it affects you, your breathing patterns, right? You have to learn, say, the physics of the reality to exist in it. So they go level 2, they start to learn, it's like shit. But they can also look down and see level 1. I mean, the level 0 consciousness where most people are. And it's like, shit, I miss so-and-so. And then what happens is that they start to generate themselves. Okay? The way they generate themselves, because they don't have a battery. Okay? The battery, or free-flowing energy, that's an invention of Tesla. The deeper version is that the connection between timeless space, or the next, say, consciousness, the lower consciousness, merging together. And as you connect, you create energy. It's been proven, when the first sperm connects with an egg, there's a lot of massive amounts of energy. Or when you die, there's massive amounts of energy release. So that's that key. So when they merge in, they would need you to connect with. Okay, they would need you to stay here. So they are at a level 1 consciousness. Okay, you walk into, say, a haunted house, for example. They understand that you're there, and they want to feel, say, density again. Because they want to feel the flesh. So what do? They entangle you. Okay? If you're open, so if you're solidified and you know what reality that you're in, then you most likely, say, would not experience that, or you might, say, get a sense of something's there, but you wouldn't think of it. But if you're open and all over the place and lost, like most people are, even highly intelligent people, it doesn't matter on the intelligence, it doesn't matter on the wealth, it doesn't matter on any of that, minimal stuff, the 1% of this reality. Most people go, well, I'm really successful, I'm not going to believe in that shit. That's bullshit. It's how awakened you are and how present you are in one reality that matters. Not your wealth, not your knowledge, not your education, not people who you know, and all that bullshit. Right? Again, it's just conscious. Those things outweigh all the physical things that we think about, that we think are real, because this physical thing here, it's not real. The only thing that's real is your unseen value. Again, I call it your pure presence. You might call it your spirit. So they come down, they see that you're open, or like a port, and they'll plug into you. And then, oh shit, I feel something. I feel like my mom around me, right? And whether your mom was good to you or bad to you, or it doesn't really matter, you'll re-experience your mom. Sometimes they get so connected, that their mom goes, wow, this feels really good. I'm living my life again. And then you start to love your mom, or you start to think about your mom, and so you start to feel guilty about all those things that you didn't do. So your mom, basically, you're accepting your mom's frequencies, and then this is just one example, by the way, and your mom just starts going deeper and deeper in you. And this is sometimes where we go hereditary patterns. Is like, as people age, they look just like their mom. Well, no shit, because your mom is in you now. She's taken over you. And this is one example, but just imagine how people age over the time and they look like their parents. A lot of times it's the unseen realm just dropping right in and taking over. And as they take over, your body structure changes, your facial structure, your eyes, all those things change. With exponential intelligence, by the way, help you remove, so you recover, so you don't age like your elders and so on. People who walk into a hospital who are, say, not clearly representing themselves in one reality. What happens is they walk in, they walk out with a ton of dead people on them. So, and this is also where, people who have gone in through surgery, and there's hundreds of cases, you can look them up on Google, where, they walk into, they go into surgery, 2 months later, they go, shit, my, this isn't my spouse. I don't know who it is, but that's not who it is before the surgery. Who it was before the surgery. Well, no shit. It's because, again, another consciousness going, damn, that guy's out of his body. He's dead to me, right? Because he's under anesthesia, and then boom, they snap in and they start taking over. So same thing with organ transplants. If any of you know organ transplant patients, I'd love to work with you to get you off, anti-rejection medications and so on. Those are the same patterns. It's somebody else's frequencies through a physical organ in this case, or even hair transplants, or even like blood transfusions, or white blood cells, or the platelets that people get, right? Injected into their body. And then you feel like something very different. Same thing there. So again, so it's all a matter of frequencies if you look at it. So what about ghosts? So ghosts start to again, ghosts, and then heavier things where people, where ghosts, like your objects move or doors slam and stuff like that. Yes, that stuff happens. So where that comes from is that people's or again the dead, what'll happen is that they'll come in, they'll use energies or frequencies or remnants of what's in the house. Okay. So for example, when you walk into somebody's house, you feel a frequency. Okay? That residue is energy. That residue, that's why you can feel it. That's why you can experience it. Like you walk into somebody's house, you get a notion of what that say family structure is like, right? At least I do. Many of you do, right? You get a different feeling. So that's leftover residue of energy or frequencies. If you give me your jewelry, for example, I can just hold it and read you. Although I don't even need that. I can, you can go, hey, just scan me, and I can read you. So that's how advanced. But my abilities are. But the point is that everything that you hold onto or own basically has your frequency. It's remnants of energy, by the way. It's residue of energy. So those dead people on the other side, they start to create through a process. They start to create or render density again. So you feel them wispy, right? Because they're again pulling the frequencies of what's here in this realm. And then when you come into a house, say that's haunted, well, you create more energy with them because they'll suck your energy or your essence. That's why many of you who might walk into a place and go, shit, excuse me, that house is haunted. And then you walk away and although you might feel, say, excited sometimes, again, because it's a higher frequency coming into you. It's a level 1 frequency coming into you. And you'll feel grander. But then when you walk away, say, from that house, you feel drained. That's the reason why. So let's take a deep breath in again. And can we do that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll go a little overtime if you don't mind. Let's take a deep breath in. Time went by so fast. So what about, like black magic entities and so on like that? Yes, they do exist. They're like higher levels of consciousness, but on the dark side that need that energy for you to create. They need that energy for them to render themselves at, say, the lower level frequencies. Without you, they would, say, die off and then just will disappear. So they would always need more and more. Those people who are possessed, like, I don't want to say government or top level officials or the dark space and so on like that, what they do is they need more and more energy, that essence. So those things, I mean, put 2 and 2 together. If you need energy or frequencies of the living, that's where weird shit happens. Again, that's where child molestation, that's where, you start to consume baby parts or baby blood or flesh. And, this is where they, witchcraft or the Dracula type feel and all those things. They need your essence because it's not about the physicalness. It's just like they need to draw in the energy that's in your flesh. And that's where really heavy shit. I don't want to get into that maybe at a later time because I don't want to get you into those realms because some of you easily get, you get momentum in those realms. This is where like sacrifice happens, and what you're doing if you're running patterns of sacrifice in your family, for example, you're basically sacrificing. So physical sacrifices back in the day, right, where they gave someone up to the gods, you're still giving somebody up, but at a frequency level. It's not necessarily to give you up at a physical level. They just want your frequency that you're creating, you're generating. It's like you've charged your battery up and it's like, it's a, disconnectable battery. It's like, hey, here you go. you can take that, and that again, that's you always have to say those people who run a sacrifice pattern, or those people you might go, well, shit, I'm not sacrificing. It's like, what about those individuals who always make a ton of money and all that, but then they lose it all, or they make a ton of money and they don't feel like they've made a ton of money, or they're not happy in that. Again, because you're sacrificing your frequencies that you're generating through success, because it's a higher level frequency in the lower realms. So what that means is that you're still in the level 0 consciousness, but you're at the higher levels of the 0 consciousness. So you generate more money, or you generate more frequencies, right? And along with that, all the people that are attracted to you because of that wealth, they're grabbing, say, your frequencies. So you're that, say, pivotal point, or that connection point, and so through you would pull, say, all the people, say, for example, like an entertainer, right? Higher levels of 0 level consciousness, right? Very popular. All the people that go, oh, I'll give anything to connect with them. Well, you don't want to say that, because you're giving a lot more than what you think, and then they'll pull through you, and then they'll feed a higher level source that needs. So you need more and more consumption, and that's what you're seeing nowadays with more and more, say, top level individuals. I hate to call them top level, they're actually very low level individuals trying to sustain themselves, and you'll see the ugliness of them coming through. So you'll see the ugliness because you'll start to see whatever controls them at a deeper level. So their beauty and all that stuff starts to fade away, and again, the real essence of who is in them starts to control them. Along with that, and then we'll go into a deep dive, is that a lot of entertainers who are, they're all fucked up, they're on drugs and stuff. Then all of a sudden it's like, all of a sudden it's like, boom, so they're like a puppet, and something comes in and they go on stage and they have a fantastic set. Well, it's not them. They're just a fucking puppet, whatever dropped in, and it takes time. If you've ever wondered why concerts don't start on time, that's the reason why, because it's not up to them to go, okay, come on in. It's like, shit, I got to get wasted. I got to get this. And they've taken so much drugs, literally, so they can get easily, their essence gets easily removed, where the other one goes, oh, it's time for me to perform. And they jump in. So that's where that happens. So all that shit happens. Witchcraft, that's basically you at a physical level, witchcraft, voodoo, even remote viewing, a lot of times. People who are really gifted at remote viewing, I'll talk about that. And this is where the governments and so on are let's take a deep breath in. Many of you might be feeling a lot of heaviness around you. It's not about what we're talking about. It's just that you're actually experiencing what's been around you all this time. And now you're becoming aware of it. So your senses, I'm helping you open up to see what's happening for you. And so stick with me, guys. I'll help you clear that stuff off, because you don't want to walk away with all that stuff on you. Okay? Because again, it'll start to consume you. So, and by the way, guys, it's not that it's new to you. It's just that you're aware. Okay? Kind of like, you've got a stain on your shirt and you don't notice it. Right? Everybody else treats you in a certain way because you've got the stain on the shirt, or the sign that says, abuse me. And then you don't notice it, but it's like, what the hell? Why is everybody treating me that way? So I'm just showing you that you've got this fucking sign that says, hey, abuse me. Right? So you become aware of it. So just stay with me and I'll help you remove that sign. Okay? So it's not heavy. I just want to emphasize that it's not me bringing that shit out. Well, it is me bringing that shit out. It's not me introducing you. So it's not new to you. It's just that you're more aware of it. Right? It's like, hey, you've got this. I'm the guy that says, hey, you've got this sign here. It says abuse me or distort me or whatever that you've got. Right? So again, I just want to say it's not me. The witchcraft, the voodoo, the darkness. Some of you might go. Some of you might go. I'm really highly religious, so none of that stuff exists. Well, that's why that shit exists around you, and you come see me, and it's like, that can't be me because I'm religious and I'm highly spiritual. I've been doing, I don't know, some, whatever they call, yoga, meditation for years. That can't be me. That's probably fucking you, because a lot of the teachers are possessed, and that's why they get the gifts that they do. Especially if you're into ayahuasca journeys and all that stuff that are out there. Those teachers that are doing that, they're not real shamans. They're not real people that have actually owned their presence in the higher realms. They're getting borrowed. Okay, so let's go back to remote viewing. Those people who are highly gifted in remote viewing, for example, okay, basically what's happening for those individuals, and I can read any high-level remote viewer. I can read, and by the way, I'll be reading people. I'll be reading the leaders of the world and how they resonate. Right? Coming up, so that might be of interest for you. So take a look at the website massajati.com. So remote viewing. What happens is that most people who remote view, and then some of the other government, say, projects, whether it's the U.S. or the U.K. or the Soviets and Chinese and all that stuff. The Chinese, they just, I don't want to talk about that. It's just a lot of shit comes up. But where was I? Really disheartening, by the way. So take a deep breath in. Sorry, guys, I got kind of lost. Again, Soviet, the U.S., and so on like that. What they do is, they do remote viewing or things of that similar nature, where they can, say, transcend or manipulate people, mind programs and so on like that, outside of like sending out frequencies, that distort people. Okay, that's the physical stuff. But what usually happens is that, remember I said that there's a higher level consciousness that is aware of what's happening. Okay? So they want to experience this reality again, because this is where you want to be. This is like heaven to those people who are awakened to experience this reality. Those who aren't, it's a hell, because you don't know how to handle it. Anyway, they're on the higher level. Somebody wants to remote view, right? Or, let's step back a bit. So they already have, say, a frequency, say the dead connected to them. So they already are, say, intuitive, right? They already are intuitive, and they'll get into situations to prove their intuition, to prove that need, that connection for that person sucking the life out of them. So they'll get attracted to remote viewing, or they're excellent at remote viewing, or it's like, they got nice psychic abilities. So they remote view, or whatever other mechanism, remote viewing, seeing the future, all those things are most likely, or channeling, right? Channeling is the same thing. You're inviting somebody else to come into you, and then you become an excellent remote viewer. So what you're doing is you're tapping in and you're allowing them, going, yes, I want to remote view. And then they tap into you more. They blend into you more. And basically, since they're at a higher level consciousness, level 1 consciousness, you're at level 0 consciousness, just think of it as a periscope, if that makes sense to you. They're basically telling you what they're seeing. So say you want to go see some, I don't know, some bunker that's in Libya or whatever it is, right? What you do is basically, hey, I want to go see some bunker in Libya. What does that look like? So that essence, that level 1, in that person in that level 1, they go into, and this is what it looks like, and they just refer it back to you. Simple as that. By the way, my abilities don't work that way. My abilities don't go through, and many of you who have done exponential intelligence, you'll start to see it's very, very different than, say, intuition, psychic abilities, anything like that. I don't have any of that stuff, because that's very low level. You're always using somebody else's frequencies, or you're in another reality that will distort you. The more you use it, the worse you get. John of God, for example, he even says it himself. He's got 7 or 8 dead doctors that blend through him. So basically a channeler, and that's where he gets fucked up. Again, many other individuals like that do the same thing. Or people feel euphoric, and people go, shit, I want to go see that guy because he feels the euphoria, and he can extend it onto you. That's not a good thing, guys, because what they're doing is like a higher, darker consciousness. Again, it has to be darker because a pure consciousness, it's out there, but they don't need you to exist. They're just self-sustaining. So they'll come through, that dark will come through, or an entertainer or a political leader that has a lot of charisma and all that stuff, right? Or again, a lot of abilities, like say the Rothschilds and so on like that, right? To manipulate the world. Again, it's a higher level individual or essence, and the higher you go, you get into alien realms and shit like that. You get into higher those spaces, and then they're coming down here and then controlling you. So they'll give you mass amount of power, intuition, money, fortune, fame, whatever it is, and they'll spread it through, and because they'll suck that out of you. So be mindful of those who are, say, extra charismatic. Now, there's two levels of charismatic. One, that pure essence, like a Jesus, Buddha, and so on like that. They had that. That was a pure state of being charismatic. And there is a difference, but most people don't understand the difference. It's like, well, they both have abilities. Well, it doesn't matter. It's like how those abilities, and even Jesus said that, not the religion, the man, right? Even Jesus said, anybody can heal you or have fantastic, abilities, but be mindful on, say, which source you want that source from. A Godhead or a pure presence. Or you are that source. Initially, all you have to do is remove the baggage out of you. So let's take a deep breath in, like I promised. As a note, unseen experiences will probably happen to you. It's not your head. It's not in your mind. Okay, so be mindful of that. Take a deep breath in again, and just notice your body. Just notice. There we go. Just notice where you end. Highly important. Just notice where you end. So notice your body, where your environment begins, where you end. And let's just do this. Some of you might get scared. And again, it's not me, it's just the realities that you exist in or is around you. So wherever you are, and I'm not going to plant any seeds because it's not hypnosis or anything like that. So just take a deep breath in, and I'll explain what I did later for you. Notice how you're feeling. Most of you will feel it right away. Some of you might kind of feel it a little later, kind of like an after effect. Again, through fear control. So, did you notice that you were getting pulled out of your body, or getting swayed? That's you getting pulled out of your body. And again, because people do start to feel things in and around them, again, because you're getting pulled out. So, but what I do is change space and time for you. Whoever the dark source is or that presence, they're out of a higher frequency than your density, and as they put attention on you, they'll pull you. Okay, so it's a distorting frequency, right? I'm just showing it to you because you can become aware of realities and frequencies. Take a deep breath in again. Let's remove or create space around you, especially if you've been, say, possessed, okay, or controlled by these other frequencies. So notice where you are, and then I'll create a clearing ground. So maybe about 3 meters or about 12 feet around you. Strong deep breath in again. So the reason why I want to do this and not completely eliminate it for you is because a good number of you, as I sense, you've been that those other realities have been part of you, or those other presences have been part of you for so long. Especially if you've been a child that had imaginary friends, or make believe land and all that stuff. Not so much make believe. Those things are real. You just again another reality. So they've been part of you for so long that if I completely removed them, you would have no idea who you are. So what I'm doing is like creating space around you. So that means that you see where you are, you see where your other, say, parts of you would be. Okay, so they can't come in and control you, and that gives you time to, say, calibrate yourself or stabilize yourself without them, and then later on, through whatever that you do with me, whether it's a private session or group session or the 18 days, that space gets bigger and bigger, and then eventually you're stable on your own. So take a deep breath in again. This also allows you, or teaches you, spatial referencing, realities that are out there for you. So you stay here in one reality, which is the safest reality for you. Okay. I see a lot of child abuse, people who've been abused or watching abuse as kids. And then what you all did was, you're a little kid, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. It's like, shit, I can't escape this reality. I can't run out of the house. I don't know where to go. So you left your body. So, sad situation, but it does exist. So let's rectify that for you. So a lot of the stories, again, abuse patterns, mutilation patterns, a lot of and everything in between, those things will show up for you. Okay, even if you've gone through therapy and then they show up, because therapy or whatever else that you've done, it just buried whatever happened to you. So it didn't release it. So in this case, I'm helping you release it. So when they show up for you, again, it's a pattern of release. Okay. There we go. I know it went a little overtime. It was necessary because, damn, a lot of you are really heavy, the world being really heavy because you're carrying other worlds or realities around you. So this will give you space to breathe, space to, say, strengthen yourself. And then again, you start to see what's yours. Some of you might feel really, really weak or lost because, again, those presences around you or realities were there and now controlling you. Now you're in control. Okay, so those are all side effects. They're not negative. They're actually very positive. So take back control of your life. Also, your physical relationships with anything, money, food. Those are all representations of what happens on the higher realm. It's just representing itself in different forms. Those things will change for you as well.